Back here on the Cover 3 podcast late last week, a document, what do we say? We socialize these plans. We socialize these ideas. We create PDFs. We send them to leadership. The Big Ten is working on the proposal and trying to get more people on board to a 24-team college football playoff. Now, we have known, thanks to rampant reporting, that a 24-team playoff is something that the Big Ten has been pushing. But unlike some of the previous proposals, this one does not include automatic qualifiers broken down by conference. This would be a 23+1 model where the one is still reserved for the group of 6, but it also includes some pieces that we've discussed, including the calendar. It proposes the elimination entirely of conference championship games. It includes the proposal that 2 rounds of the college football playoff would be on campus, meaning that every team would be guaranteed, every team that is a top 16 seed would be guaranteed at least one home game instead of, for example, our top 4 seeds go right out to the bowl games. It also includes a mid-January finish. Based on what I could tell, that's about a week earlier, certainly, than what we would have in January of this coming January of 27. Danny, a couple other details we can sort of work through as well. What'd you make of the Big Ten's 24-team college football playoff proposal, which now has a few more details than just sort of who gets into the bracket?
I think they should have called this a 16-team college football playoff proposal with a round of play in games. Like that, the 24 is so shocking to everyone that's out there. Like, I haven't seen anybody say that they like this. I think they could have tried to package it a little bit better, because I do think it is shocking to hear 24. And it is a lot of football teams. But I think there's some good ideas in it. Like, I think the conference championship games are just dying. Like, they don't have the significance they used to. It feels like a wasted weekend. It doesn't fit with our playoff system when you have teams that miss the conference championship actually get an edge because they get a bye and it doesn't hurt them as much. I do think the value of having an extra home playoff game would be awesome. Getting 2 weekends of that is a huge win for college football fans. I think it does make it more. It adds some, if you're worried about the regular season being diminished, it does add, the regular season value by the best records. You get those home playoff games. So I think there's some good things to it. I feel like I'm the only one. I think I'm on an island that says, you know what, this may not be that bad, but I do think the 24 team is a huge, shock to people's system. That's why people are so against it.
Is there anything that, in this that was really new?
No.
Well,
not much.
We discussed all these things a few weeks ago.
I think,
it really has been out there for a year.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. To fast forward into this, there was some pieces that I did think were new. I had not seen someone put in writing that of the 12 new games that would be created, ESPN would only have the rights to 2 of them, and 10 new games would be put up for bid.
Okay, so the new stuff was the TV.
Yeah, now we're starting to talk about, and I had not seen put in writing exactly what it could look like, and the idea that the push behind it included not having super long layoffs and staying consistently in the conversation rather than having all that dead time. Because if you are going to expand it, I don't want it to end in February. I don't want to continue to have these 12, 14, these long layoffs between the rounds of the playoff. So I did think there were pieces of this in terms of how it would actually function and be put into place. Also, to hear this reasoning piece, which makes sense in the current transfer portal era, and with a push from fan bases for playoff or bust, it is forgiving in a way that you could say it's soft, but it is forgiving a team that might take a couple weeks to be able to really find its footing. There was the quote in there about, if you got a team that takes a loss or 2 early, they would still be able to try and hit their stride before the end of the season. Tom, that it's different than college football was 20 years ago.
I'm not smiling because it's wrong. I'm smiling because this is what I said was going to happen the entire damn time.
You're supposed to do a heel turn. This is the year that you love.
No, I'm not. I have no problem. I'm with Danny. I have absolutely no problem with this. None whatsoever. I don't even think you need to call it the playing games. Although, I mean, yeah, you're replacing conference championships with playing games. Essentially, what you're doing. So
I do like the marketing criticism, or
Right?
like the ad way, the criticism. Like you could have,
it's true.
have packaged this better. 24 is just going to turn people off because it is such a large number.
Yeah, because these are the same dumbasses who think the game matters more because you put the word playoff on it. So if you sell it to them as a 16 team with 4 playing games, they're too stupid to realize it just means it's a 2014 playoff. So, but like, listen, we just discussed Sacramento State is paying up to join the MAC. All right. I've never been before like a proponent of playoff expansion, but I feel like of all the stuff that is currently happening in this sport, just based on the changes that have taken place, this is the least defensive proposal change that I have seen. Like, this is what was coming the entire time. And I see so many people who are taking umbrage, like, oh my God, this is a horrible idea. They're going to destroy the regular season. Buddy, they destroyed the regular season already. Like, what changed? We destroyed it with a 12-team playoff to where Alabama gets its ass kicked in the SEC championship game, but we have to pretend that didn't happen so they get to hold on to their playoff spot and Notre Dame gets left out. Like, the regular season hasn't really mattered. The champion 2 years ago lost twice during the regular season, including in the last week of the regular season. They're just expanding it. This is what you pushed for all along. This is what you wanted all along. And now that it's 12 and they're saying they're going to go to 24, now it's now it's a bridge too far. Like, you can't complain that Alabama might cancel the Ohio State series and then also complain that they're going to expand to 24. Because if you want to solve all these problems that you have created, really the only logical way to do it is to expand the playoff because it brings in more money. It distributes the games to more networks. And you've been complaining forever that ESPN is the only one who controls it. So now you're finally getting that. And it gets more teams in and it keeps you interested late into the season. You no longer feel like your season's over by October because you were a moron to begin with. Like, this is perfectly sensible stuff. I don't think it's going to go through. I think it will be a while, but you're kidding yourself if you don't think we're going to get to 24 at some point. Because look at what's happening. The teams that aren't getting in 12, James Franklin's getting fired. All these coaches are getting fired because they couldn't get into a 12. Once they can't get into the 16, we're going to have to expand again because, damn it, we can't keep paying these $60 million buyouts for these guys for missing the 16-team field.
I would say James Franklin got fired because he couldn't beat top 5 teams. They were in the regular season. Like,
James
the regular
Franklin hadn't
season
beaten top
matter.
5 teams for a decade before the 12-team playoff came around.
Exactly. He got fired because he lost to Northwestern as well, and he lost to UCLA. It wasn't just the fact that he missed the playoffs.
It was emotional.
It
was a very emotional firing. So where do you think that if this is to bring up like the Overton window discussion, do you think this sets one end and then we end up in some kind of compromise? If you're in the SEC, are you moved by this at all to be able to go halfway and offer some sort of middle option to be able to, get both sides to the table?
If I'm the SEC and this is not like there's no auto bids, it's all just top 24 teams. How the hell would I not be in support of this?
Right.
I'm going to get 8 or 9, 10 teams in every year. Half my league is getting into this playoff. Like, I would be fully on board. And especially if you're divvying up the money based on how many teams get in to each league, hell yes, let's do this. That's the one thing that's always kind of baffled me about the SEC not wanting to expand even more. As long as there aren't auto bids, yeah, hell yeah, give me all those spots.
They would have had the most in this. They put out the bracket.
They would have had the most every year. If you go back a decade, however long you want to go back and do the format, what it would have been in a 2014, the SEC would have had more teams in every single year.
How much do you think of this is Fox input?
A lot.
Yeah. I mean, to create inventory. Yeah.
The commissioners are just, well, never mind.
And Tony Petitti was a TV guy. I mean, he's had a TV background, so he's got a lot of those relationships already intact.
You say was.
They all kind of still are.
Yeah. It is undeniable that the Big Ten pushing for a format that would create playoff games that could be up for bid, there is a television motivation there.
Yes.
I find it interesting from our seat that you've got a lot of coaches that are out there feeling the pressure to make this new playoff that just like, yeah, let's expand this thing. Because if my donors and my fan bases want to see us in the playoff, I'm having to break in a new quarterback every single year who just showed up in February, then yeah, I need as much wiggle room as possible. And so all these things sort of leading to a drive from the coaches to be able to create as many playoff spots as possible for themselves, because that is just a matter of self-preservation. They cannot handle, with the way that rosters are currently so fluid, they cannot handle the pressure of 2 losses getting you almost out of the picture, unless you start the season as a top 5 team, and that's basically a closed door club at this point.
Yeah. I mean, just bringing this up for no reason. I don't know if you guys, like, the NBA All-Star weekend was this weekend, and the commissioner of that league is just maybe like, he's trying to come up with ideas to make sure teams actually try to win during the regular season. I don't know what happened to the NBA to make the regular season not matter in that sport. I don't know. It's like maybe because they put half the freaking league in the playoffs every year. Who knows? We'll see. I don't know. But anyways, we need to keep expanding this thing.
Nah.
Those are the only games that
the
matter.
NFL's playoffs are awesome. The NFL regular season is still really good.
The NFL is not comparable to anything else. The NFL is a religion. It's not.
But see, I think college football is a religion. That's where I think the biggest problem with the NBA is the players don't care about the regulars. Like, they don't care about the sport they play. Like, they never want to play hard. Like, they never want to play, period. Like, I think that's the biggest risk that you run into with that sport.
The only place north of the Mason-Dixon line where football is a religion is in Indiana, thanks to the Indiana Hoosiers. All right.
No, Columbus, Ohio.
No, they don't care anymore. They don't care.
I don't know.
They just want to pay guys and get to the league. They don't care about football.
I do. Don't you think, though? And I mean, ESPN, congrats to them for owning college football. I do think it would be healthier from the overall health of the sport if there were multiple networks involved. And I think it'd be way more financially lucrative if you did have them bid on this. I think it would be better. You would stop having the accusations of, ESPN's just scripting this for ratings. Now, everyone likes ratings, Fox and ESPN both, but I do think it would be healthier for everyone that's involved. And I get tired of it because you feel it when you feel certain, commentators saying, this team looks like they are campaigning for programs that play on their networks.
They're campaigning for the programs they're familiar with.
Yes.
And it comes across as they're rooting for that team and they're pushing that team because their bosses are, if you want to go into conspiracy, telling them they have to do it. When in reality, it's just, I've seen this team play 4 times. I think they're pretty good when they're playing at their best, and they deserve to be it. That's really all it comes down to.
Jerry said you can do that without expansion. I don't know. Can you? I don't know if you can until the deals come up again, which would be 2030, 2031.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw it with Indiana. Did you notice any of that during the Indiana-Alabama game? Some of just a lot of conversations like, wow, this Indiana team's pretty good.
Yeah, because they hadn't seen them all yet.
I truly felt like a lot of college football fans saw Indiana for the first time in the Rose Bowl. They were like, wow, these guys are good. Because they were doing it against Alabama on ESPN,
We are doing everything in our power to nationalize this sport, but it is a regional sport. Like, a Florida fan has no reason to watch Indiana on Saturday unless they're playing Indiana. They're not playing a team that matters to them. They are not a team that matters to them. They're watching their rivals. So, yeah, like when you get to the playoff, SEC fans haven't really been watching the Big Ten. Big Ten fans haven't really been watching the SEC. It's the way it works, but we're trying to make it into the NFL. Also, the greatest irony of all of this to me is we created the playoff because for years we were basing our national champions on polls. We were getting people together and having them vote, and then whoever they thought the best team was proclaimed national champion. So now, even though we're expanding to 24 teams in this scenario, how are they deciding the 24 teams? By having a vote. And we're pretending that the selection committee, and Chip, I mean, no disrespect, I know how the esteem you hold the committee in,
obviously.
But we're going to act like the 12 people in that room are any different than the 68 voting on the AP poll. They're not. But it's the same damn way we're doing it. It's just we've slapped the word playoff on it.
There was also a wrinkle in the proposal which said no rematches in the first round.
Which, good luck. You've got 20-team leagues, and half the field is going to be made up of 2 leagues. Good luck without those rematches.
That's when we start to get into seeding principles. If you get the field that big, no one's actually going to be, I mean, someone will, but the complaints about who's in and who's out at the bubble will be, I think, superseded by people complaining about who got screwed by being the 12 seed versus the 10 seed.
That'll last a
things
year.
were being moved around. Yeah.
It'll last a year until it happens, and everybody's going to get in an uproar. And it's just going to be like the buys were for the conference champions the first year of the 12. Everybody's going to say this was the dumbest freaking thing ever. Let's fix it. So yeah, go for it. Let's just do it on the fly.
We will discuss more about national champions in just a little bit, including our annual discussion for who will be the next first-time national championship winning coach, who will be the first-time national championship winning program. We had both of those boxes checked this past season by Curt Cignetti and the Indiana Hoosiers.